Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial on IT.tutorials. I am Josef Botnar. I'm continuing the series of Java tutorials. This Java tutorial has the goal to talk about the Boolean primitive type. This is the last primitive type. What I'm going to talk related to primitive types. I have done all the primitive types. There is the Java playlist tutorials. If you want to watch the other tutorials related to primitive types, you just access my Java playlist, and there you will have all the tutorials related to primitive types. This Boolean type has two values, true and false. So let's see how we can declare a Boolean variable. You have to write this keyword Boolean, and after the name of your variable, in my case A. You can initialize this variable here, or you can assign a value on another line. So I'm going to initialize this A Boolean value with false. Yeah. Here I'm going to declare another Boolean variable, be it B, and on the other line I'm going to assign it with the true Boolean value. So let's display in console the value of these two Boolean variable using this system.out.println. And here inside these parentheses, let's write something like A equal plus operator, and here the A variable, semicolon. Let's copy this line and let's paste it down here. Let's change this A with a B and the A variable with a B variable. So let's execute this application and let's see the result in console. Here you go. Here is the result. E equal false and B equal true. Yeah, because A was assigned by this Boolean value false, and B was assigned by this Boolean value true. All right. Okay. Also, you have to know that the compiler evaluates various expressions, especially the comparative expression, and the result of this evaluation done by compiler is a Boolean value. So I'm going to write another statement here on this code line using again this system.out.println, and I'm going to write here this expression which represent a comparative expression using a relational operator, like 3 is bigger than 4, which obviously is not true. Yeah, I'm going to write is, here the plus operator, and here I'm going to write the expression, the comparative expression, 3 is bigger than 4, yeah, and semicolon. Here I should add n. Alright, so let's execute again this up, and here you go. This is the result of executing this line by compiler. So it's obviously the compiler evaluated this comparative expression, which obviously is false. So that's why we have here this result, false. Yeah, this is the part of the text, 3 bigger than 4 is. Yeah, it is this part, and this false was displayed by compiler after the compiler evaluated this comparative expression. So you can use it this way, the comparative expression using this relational operator to display a Boolean value in console, or to evaluate by compiler this kind of expression. If I change here this relational operator, yeah, with less than, so now this will be evaluated true by compiler, because obviously 3 is less than 4. And here let's change this, and let's execute this up again. So now, as you can see here, 3 is less than 4 is true. Yeah. So this Boolean value true was displayed by compiler after evaluating this comparative expression. Alright. Also, we can use the Boolean type variable inside the if conditional statement, and also we can use various comparative expression using the relational operator, which is going to be evaluated by compiler, as you have seen in this example, inside the parentheses of if conditional statement. In this way, we are going to validate the entry for a if conditional statement. So let me to do an example. All right, in this way you will understand better. So I'm going to write this if conditional statement. Inside the parentheses, I'm going to use this variable a. Okay, I'm going to copy this and paste it in here, and I'm going to write here this line is not printed. Yeah, because the value assigned or stored by this Boolean variable is false, as you can see. So the compiler will evaluate the value stored by this variable, which is false, and will skip this line. Yeah, the compiler will not execute this line because this variable has this false Boolean value stored. So let's execute this up, and here you go. As you can see, this text doesn't appear here in console. Yeah, because as I told you, the compiler evaluates the value stored by this variable, which is false. Therefore, the compiler didn't execute this line. So let me to copy and paste this line here, and now I'm going to change this variable with b. Now this line will be printed, yeah, because the value stored by this variable is true, and the compiler is going to evaluate the value stored by this variable, and because it's true, it's going to execute this line. Yeah, so the entry of this if conditional statement is validated, and the compiler will execute this line. So let's run again this up, and here you go, this line is printed, as you can see. So this line was executed by compiler. Also, you can use the comparative expression, as I did here, to validate the entry of a if statement. Yeah, so if I'm going to write here 3 is bigger than 4, the result of compiler evaluation of this comparative expression is false, which is obviously, and this line will not be printed. So this line is not printed. Yeah, let's execute again this up, and here you go. As you can see, this line wasn't executed by compiler because the evaluation of this comparative expression is false. If I change this relational operator with less, so 3 is less than 4, so this line is going to be executed. So the entry of if conditional statement is validated because this expression is true, and the compiler will execute this line. Yeah, so let's run again this up, and here you go. So as you can see here in console was printed this text because the compiler executed this line. So that's all for today. Bear in your mind, so the Boolean type has two values, false and true. We can use the Boolean variables to validate the entry for a if conditional statement. Also, we can use the comparative expression to validate the entry of if conditional statement, because the compiler is going to evaluate the comparative expression, and the result will be either true or false, and depending on the result of evaluation, the entry of if conditional statement will be validated by compiler. So thank you for watching this video tutorial. I'm waiting for you to watch my other video tutorial. See you next time. Bye bye.